It's time now for County-Wide, a presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. You'll hear about the interesting issues and happenings that affect all our lives. Here's today's County-Wide.
Well, good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. I'm Brad Miller, and we're so happy to welcome you onto the program with us again. And again, some exciting and interesting guests from our community. Rhonda Bishop is the executive director, the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition. We say good day, Rhonda. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing a little time out of your busy schedule with us. And Chip Norton, you are the president of the board for this same organization. Is that right?
That's correct, and thanks for having me, Brad.
Got that correct. Okay. I want to talk about, there's been some exciting things that your organization has been involved with recently. Just real quick, give me a brief history. How long has the coalition been in place in the Verde Valley?
We became a 501c3 in 2018. It was a very small operation just right next to Main and Mingus in a little strip mall area. From there, we moved to the place we currently are, which was the former Central Arizona Food Bank.
Okay.
It had been that for many years. They closed down, and we then later took over the building. The people were really wonderful to work with. I joined the facility in 2020, August, right mid-pandemic. I mean, it was a pretty awful time. But since then, we've been open now for overnight since 2021, October, I believe, of 2021. We've been a full-time emergency shelter, and we're building transitional housing, hoping to rehouse some of the people that use our facility.
Okay, terrific. And there is a new facility, a building, a home, do we call it, I guess? Yeah,
it's home. It's Friendship House. We have an existing mobile home that people will be moving into, and then we're building another one. It's a 6-bedroom unit where we will be able to, between the two, house 10 people.
And that's going to solve the problem in the Verde Valley.
Immediately, yes.
It's not by a darn sight, and that's why we're talking today.
No.
Yeah.
We, on average, we see probably about 90 different individuals a month.
Really?
But on a repeating basis. So sometimes someone will come to the area, they'll be here for 2 weeks, and then we won't see them anymore.
Right.
We do have regulars, about 50 regulars that are in the valley at any given time. And of course, some are different places. You'd be surprised how fast they get around. But we do see, roughly 90 individuals a month.
I want to ask both of you a question that we kind of kicked around before we open the mics, and I would love you both to share these perspectives with our listening audience. I'd love to ask all of our guests, what is one thing, or maybe a basket of little notions or ideas or thoughts, misconceptions perhaps, that the general public may have either about your organization specifically or about the homeless in general? And Rhonda, I really appreciated your answer. Could you share that again?
One of the biggest misconceptions about homelessness is that people are drug addicts and alcoholics. But right now, we run roughly 40% of the people that regularly use our shelter have an income, whether that's through employment or Social Security disability. They have an income. Some people, we actually have people that are not only on disability, but they work a small job too, and they still don't make enough to be in a home. Retirees who have worked their whole lives, Chip said it very well, that just can't afford. Their house has been sold out from under them, and they can't afford to be in a house.
Yeah, people who normally would not find themselves in these predicaments have been.
Right.
And especially in the Southwest,
yes.
especially in our area. I mean, everywhere in the country, certainly, but in places where the housing market has just gone sky high, and that includes really all of Arizona, including northern Arizona. Is there still, and I've seen this with my own eyes, and I know the two of you probably had as well, a stigma attached to homelessness, that some folks, especially the further away removed they are from a situation like that, find that, well, they chose to be homeless, or through their actions, inactions, stupidity, misbehaviors, whatever, ended up in this situation. Do you still see and hear that?
We hear it constantly.
Yeah.
I hear, why don't they just get a job? Why don't they just quit drinking? The fact is alcoholism is one of the worst things to detox from. It can kill you to detox from alcohol. It isn't as simple as just quit drinking. It isn't as simple as go get a job, because where do you shower? If you work a night shift, where do you sleep during the day? I mean, there's so many problems that come with saying just do it.
Right.
Certainly there are people that make it work, And there are, I had a lady who used to ask people to use their garden hose so she could wash her hair to go to work.
Wow.
And that's the kind of people that use our shelter.
Right.
It's the kind of people that want to get back on their feet.
Chip, isn't that correct? Most people, that word want, folks in this situation typically want to improve their situations.
Well, yes, and I think definitely the last 15 years or so, what's emerging is, as Rhonda said, you have senior citizens that were homeowners that worked their entire life. Disability health issue pops up often when you get to be that age and found themselves in a position that they cannot even afford to rent a home,
right.
and they're homeless. The same is true for a lot of young families with children that don't have the income to afford a place to live, and they may be living in a van or things of that nature. And these are folks where, the solution is truly affordable housing, not right. something that's referred to as affordable housing, but is triple what they can afford. And, that's where the transitional housing comes into play. It's the folks that really are employed or they're retired and have been employed their entire lives that are looking to move back into housing. They don't want to be homeless, and there is a stigma, and they're not going to tell everybody about their plight because they're ashamed of it.
Embarrassment, There were a couple of things, and that's one of them. There's substance issues. Perhaps there are some mental health difficulties. The other, it seems like, second piece is the one you just mentioned, financial matters. And then whatever the cause, I want to read something straight from your website. It's a terrific website, by the way. There's a lot of good information there, VerdeValleyHomelessCoalition.com. And I saw this. Homeless persons can be reluctant to leave the streets and accept emergency shelter. So even when facilities like yours, Rhonda, are available, sometimes because of either embarrassment that they've gotten into this situation or whatever it may be, they don't want to take advantage of the help that's being offered.
That's correct.
How do you fight that?
Well, a lot of it has to do with trust. If you don't trust somebody, how can you go into their home and sleep?
Yeah.
Like, you think about it. If you're staying in an Airbnb and there's a host that's living in the same house, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So it's virtually the same thing. They are falling asleep in a place where they don't know the people sleeping around them, and they don't know the staff that's there to keep them safe.
Right.
And so we work really hard on building trust. Sometimes we'll see people right off the street that will come in and stay there, and they're just desperate. Sometimes it takes us weeks and sometimes months to build up a trust relationship so that people will come in and use the facility. There was one man who, through an entire winter, when we first opened our overnight shelter, the entire winter he slept outside because he just didn't trust us enough. And now he's a regular, and we see him every day.
So he did come. He made that initial step.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't there. It took time.
It took time because you have to learn to trust the people around you. If you carry everything you own in a backpack and that gets stolen, your life is gone.
Right.
And so to take the chance that you're going to go to sleep and somebody has access while you're asleep to your entire life, that's a scary thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's probably a pretty reasonable argument that a lot of the folks that you see, there was a incredible breach of trust in their story that led to them being in that situation, perhaps even cruelly so.
Yes. We have an instance where a woman who had utilized our shelter lost a job because her boss drove by and saw her coming in. There's a stigma that goes around people that they steal, that they're not trustworthy, and because they found out she was homeless, she lost a job. And so, there's a lot of things that go, misinformation that goes on around homeless people that just people need to remember. The key to homeless people is the people part. We don't introduce ourselves as, "Hey, I'm a 2-story walk-up." We don't introduce ourselves like that. So why do we expect them to? I'm a homeless person.
Right.
We don't give them a name, so that doesn't let them be a human.
And so in this case, this horrific case you just described, the boss had something unveiled, and he applied all of the stereotypes and stigmas to this individual.
Right.
Well, that's just awful, and I'd like to talk to that guy sometime. But let's take a short break here. Important work is being done at the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition. Board President Chip Norton and Executive Director Rhonda Bishop, our guest today. We'll talk more when we come back to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Louis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
We come back to Countywide. I'm Brad Miller, and again, our guest today on the program from the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition. Rhonda Bishop is the executive director, and board president Chip Norton are here. VerdeValleyHomelessCoalition.com, a terrific website. You'll find all kind of information, including phone numbers and other ways to reach out and contact if you or someone you know would need the assistance of this terrific organization. Perhaps you'd like to contribute resources or your own time. You can take a look there. We'll chat more about that before we wrap up the program. Housing, certainly when we talk about homeless, that's going to be critical, and the Friendship House is a terrific step. What else? There's other things that homeless folks are going to need to be able to get back and perhaps get a job or kind of get themselves off the streets.
So we are open daily from 1 to 5, and we operate a resource center. So we can give, there's certain resources that we have, like we have shampoo and soap and things that people need,
Right.
toiletries, socks. We always have socks. And which Bomba's sock company, we are giving partners of theirs, and
I've
they're
heard
wonderful.
other organizations tell me that.
Wonderful organization to work with. And we have computers available for people to use, charging stations, free Wi-Fi.
Okay.
There is always something to eat at our shelter. So whether that's a peanut butter and jelly or whether it's a meal that's been prepared, there's always something to eat. The Old Town Mission, of course, is a great resource for other meals during
Right.
the week
Right.
as well. We do have people that will bring food that they've purchased or that's been given to them, put it in the fridge. They can microwave it there. We don't cook on site, but we can warm a heck of a meal.
Okay. You can certainly
We make sure that people have things
bet.
to eat.
You
And so resources. So Catholic Charities comes in, signs people up for their services, and they deal with housing vouchers and with helping place people in permanent housing.
Okay.
If they need supportive housing, for instance, they might have a mental illness that it has deemed them SMI, and Catholic Charities can help them with permanent supportive housing.
Okay.
So we do have all kinds of resources if they need. Well, anybody really can come and ask for resources because there are mohelp.org is a wonderful website that just has a whole list of everything that anybody would need.
When folks come to you, are they obligated to demonstrate any kind of financial hardship, or
No.
is it just it's a conversation?
It's a conversation.
Okay.
So of our funding, part of our funding does come from the state, and so we do keep track of demographics and things like that.
Sure.
And we, at the time we call call it an intake packet, and we get as much information about them as we can. Sometimes people need that information. Sometimes they have loved ones looking for them, and we've been able to help reunite a few families by making sure we ask if they have a name that they like to go by, and what is your real name? What is your date of birth?
Right.
But they do have the right to either share that or not. So we make sure to ask.
Is there, if someone, say, comes in and gets one of the rooms, one of the, at Friendship House or wherever, is there a time limit that they're able to take advantage of that?
So transitional housing is termed 24 months. And so 2 years is the max for transitional housing. Realistically, if we were to put people in there tomorrow, would there be enough housing for them in 2 years?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
At this point, I just don't know. But during that time, there's so many things that we have to work on with people. That's why we need the support system of a case manager to help them learn how to budget money.
Right.
We are educating people in transitional housing how to be good tenants. So how to be a good roommate, picking up their personal items, making sure you take a shower. If a shower is not available to you every day, you don't know what a gift that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you only normally shower once or twice a week whenever you can get in to the showers, of course it's going to be a learning process to learn that you can take one every day. If you only ever wash your clothes once a month, it's a learning process. So there's things that people have to learn before they can be a tenant, and that's what we want transitional housing to do.
And Chip, this sounds like there are so many kinds of basic things that a lot of us, fortunately, are privileged, I guess, to be able to just kind of take for granted. Showering and living with others, just things like that. But to have to either learn that for the first time or relearn it from a long lapse, that's got to be a huge part of the challenge.
Yeah, I think, and that's something we identified, that the term we use is case management, but you've got a pretty good spectrum. Some of the folks will be, I would say, fully functional, and they can actually be taking the lead, offering peer support to the others in that transitional housing area, and there are others that have further to go, but it's still a matter of identifying who is ready to go into transitional housing.
Right.
But you're going to have a spectrum, and you need some very knowledgeable case management. That just providing the transitional housing, that's the shelter part, but they need a guide, and I don't mean that in a way that diminishes the fact that these are people just like us that may have had some bad breaks that we haven't encountered yet.
Right.
And but that guidance is really important, and you need the two of those integrated together, I think, to be successful.
It seems like when any of us, if you catch a bad cold, there's a day you're sniffly, and then the next day a little run down. Then you miss a day of work. Then you bounce back the other way, and you start to feel better. There's a 5-day period, say.
Right.
Homelessness, it seems to me, is going to also have a similar cycle, can be probably at least that long and much, much longer. And where folks are in that slide, when they come to you, you have to determine that. That seems like that could be kind of tricky.
It can be, but
important.
It's very important. Here's what happens is when people come into the shelter, I had a tour yesterday, and I was explaining to them it would be so much easier on my staff and I if we used folding plastic tables and folding plastic chairs instead of having couches, instead of having dining tables with chairs. It would be so much easier. But we have those things on purpose because we want people to want to have things in their house. We want them to understand that we eat at a table. We don't have to sit on the floor and eat. And we watch TV as a group, and we agree on what we're going to watch. And, there's things that we're teaching them, even in the shelter, that it's okay for you to want to have a table to sit at to eat. And it's okay if you want those things. And a lot of, for instance, I have the spectrum. I have one man who has not been in housing since he was in his early 20s. He's in his late 40s now. He hasn't been in housing that whole time. I have other people, a gentleman who lost his home due to some severe illness of his wife, the medication, and they had to sell their house and everything. It's a tragedy. But So he hasn't been out of housing very long. So, we have the spectrum of people.
Right.
And the people that have more recently been in housing, they're the people that take the lead because in our shelter, everybody's responsible for helping with the dishes, keeping the bathrooms clean,
Sure.
keeping the tables wiped up, because that's how we function in a household.
Kind
and
of
so
a
that's just
trustee type.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to transition them even then.
Right.
We want them to learn to be in housing.
Right.
And
Wow.
like at the beginning we said, sometimes people aren't going to want that for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, because it's not my life and it's not my journey.
Yeah.
But we'll support them however we can.
It seems like if they end up, though, on your radar in one fashion or another, if they physically come to the center or whatever, that is at least the beginnings of a call for assistance.
Correct.
So you're going to take up and then work with them as best you can until there's a point where it takes or it doesn't.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take another short break. We'll come back and wrap up. Our guests again, Rhonda Bishop and Chip Norton with the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition. We'll return to Countywide right after this.
Life changes, then it changes again. Predicting the unexpected in life is impossible. That's why it's called unexpected. So when it comes to financial goals, our philosophy is don't predict, prepare. Hi, I'm Edward Jones financial advisor Matthias Sandoval. A job loss, change in health, or a loss of a loved one can have a big impact on your family's financial security. Let's work together to help make sure you're equipped for life's unexpected events. Call our office to schedule a face-to-face appointment.
Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Verde Solaire, your hometown heating, air conditioning, and plumbing company in the Verde Valley, and your trusted North Central Arizona Goodman dealer. Goodman is a name you can trust with the revolutionary Comfort Bridge technology, factory installed into select Goodman gas furnaces and air handlers to ensure the entire system operates at peak energy efficient performance. Verde Solaire offers free in-home estimates, locally owned and operated since 1983. Visit them at verdesolaire.com. Better, cleaner, faster.
Hi, this is Lewis Rice with Rice Accounting, Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, with a very sincere thank you for your continued business over the last 20 years. All of us at Jackson Hewitt Tax Service are very honored for the many community awards we've been given over the years. As always, we are open year-round, providing services for taxes, payroll, and bookkeeping. Jackson Hewitt Tax Service, located throughout northern Arizona, can help you with all your tax and accounting needs. For our nearest location, call 800-234-1040.
Let's talk. That's the message from Jonna Randall Murdoch, your local Farm Bureau agent, providing a personal touch when making insurance and financial decisions. Jonna will simplify your insurance needs while offering competitive pricing. Let's talk auto, home, life, and farm. Call Jonna at Farm Bureau today at 928-649-8686. Your Cottonwood Farm Bureau property and casualty insurance company. At Farm Bureau, they insure more than just farms.
And again, we welcome you back to Countywide. I'm Brad Miller. Chip Norton, Rhonda Bishop here, the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition, and the website VerdeValleyHomelessCoalition.com. A terrific website, comprehensive, a lot of good information there, and you can find out what this organization is about and how you can get involved. That's the best way to do it. Act on some of the things that you heard in our conversation today. Coming up, October 21st is a significant date on your calendar.
It is indeed. We are having an open house and a first look at our friendship house. So our shelter will be open for anybody that wants to see what a Cottonwood homeless shelter looks like. We will have tours available. Our board members will be present. You can meet our board, talk to our board members, meet all of our staff. In fact, just a quick note, everybody who has ever been homeless has a chance to escape homelessness. Every single one of my employees, including myself, was homeless at one time.
Really?
That is true. Wow. We are all, that's why we worked hard for these people, because we know lives can change through just one person that believes in them.
Right.
So October 21st, it'll be fun. We're going to have Verve Tents and Events is bringing out their tents and chairs, and just wonderful sponsor of ours, and Allegra. You'll start to see the flyers around town that Allegra has printed for us. Wonderful organization. Cottonwood Chamber of Commerce has been huge in helping us put this together, and so we're going to have some refreshments. We're going to have tours of the houses and answer any questions anybody has.
Okay, terrific. And this will be, again, October 21st.
Correct.
And where and when?
660 North Main Street, right across the street from Camelot RV.
Okay.
And it'll be 9 to 11. 11 to 1.
11
to 1, yes.
On the 21st.
Yes.
Terrific. All right. Well, thank you for coming in and talking on the program. Particularly thank you both for the work that you do. It is important, and it continues. At the Verde Valley Homeless Coalition, Chip Norton Board President, Executive Director Rhonda Bishop. I'm Brad Miller. It's Countywide, and we'll see you next time.
This has been Countywide. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday at this time. If you have a topic or guest idea that you'd like to suggest, email us, news@myradioplace.com.